In the past couple of weeks, the president has lied about being at Ground Zero the day after the September 11th attacks, falsely claimed he saw the Pittsburgh Bridge collapse, claimed his grandfather died in the hospital days before his birth. What is going on with the president? Is he just believing things that didn't happen did happen, or is he just randomly making stuff up?
The president was deeply touched and honored to be able to spend 9/11 with military members there in Alaska and some families.
Okay, so I just want to say, if you guys like the content and you want to support me, check out my new merch shop. I got some tinfoil hats. I got my brand new Free Trump mugshot shirt. Check out the link in the description, tvsmerch.com. I got some other cool gear over there. Okay, so we just observed the 22nd anniversary of 9/11, the most devastating attack, the most devastating event on American soil in our generation. This event, even though it was a couple of decades ago, is still extremely sensitive to Americans because 3,000 people died. People's families, moms, grandmas, children, brothers, aunties died in an act of terror. So the job of the president with these type of things is to provide encouragement and comfort and bring unity and solidarity to the country. But Joe Biden failed at it. Joe Biden was in Alaska, and people are asking, what the hell was he doing in Alaska on September 11th? Well, he had just come back from a trip to East Asia. He was over there in Vietnam recently, a couple of days ago. He was over there half dead, mumbling, falling over his own speech, not knowing what the hell he was even talking about. So Air Force One oftentimes, well, pretty much always, when the president travels to East Asia, they stop in Anchorage, Alaska for reprieve, for refueling, stuff like that. So the president didn't see it as a high priority to get to D.C., to get to New York, to get to Pennsylvania. He said, you know what? We're in Anchorage, we're over here. I just give a quick speech over here. I just talk about, some 9/11 stuff from over here. So this man gave his speech, a rush speech, and he even made a joke during his speech. Some dumbass joke about high school sports or something. Let's take a look.
Now, today, during Biden's half-hearted attempt to commemorate 9/11 during the pit stop in Alaska after his disastrous presser in Vietnam, the president rushed through a short, tone-deaf speech playing down the threat of al-Qaeda while emphasizing the rise of political extremism. Really? Take a look.
Governor Dunleavy, it's good to see you. Governor and I have something in common. We're both from Scranton, Pennsylvania. I wish I had him playing in my high school ball club when I was playing. But I could have been an All-American having you in front of me. Terrorism, including political and ideological violence, is the opposite of all we stand for as a nation that settles our difference peacefully under a rule of law. Today, we can look across the country and around the world and see anger and fear in places many of you have been stationed before. A rising tide of hatred and extremism and political violence. It's more important than ever that we come together around the principle of American democracy, regardless of our political backgrounds. We must not succumb to the poisonous politics of difference and division. We must never allow ourselves to be pulled apart by petty manufactured grievances.
People are outraged right now because this is an extremely sensitive event, like I said, and this man is tone deaf. He doesn't understand the seriousness of it. So it could be a couple of things. He could just be senile. His staff is completely incompetent. They're all tone deaf. They're all dumb and didn't know that he shouldn't have been in Anchorage, Alaska. He should have been at one of the sites. He should have been with the families who suffered that day. Or it could be maybe he knows and he just doesn't give a damn. Because just a couple of weeks ago, maybe a month ago, Hawaii was on fire. And while ashes of human remains was on the ground, over 100 people died, thousands of houses burned to the ground. He was on the beach in Delaware, sunbathing. After that, he went to a billionaire's house in Lake Tahoe, Nevada, just to chill and relax. This man showed these people in Hawaii and in America that he didn't give a damn about them. Just like East Palestine, Ohio, he gave some BS excuse after they dealt with that train derailment that completely destroyed their entire town. And he said, you know what, I'm not going over there. He kept making these promises, but every time somebody asked him, when are you going to East Palestine, Ohio? They'd be like, he'd say, I'm busy. I got to go to this place, that place. I need to go everywhere on earth before I can go to East Palestine. So the thing about it is, he can show people that he doesn't give a damn, and they'll still love him. They will still protect him because these people vote blue no matter who. So they're going to come out and cape for this man and defend this man. So maybe he just don't give a damn about people who suffered during 9/11. And he said, God damn it, I guess I'll give a little speech, man. Like, write something down real quick, jot something on some paper, I'll read it, I guess. That could be the case, or it could be the case that his staff is sabotaging him, because even though these people are voting blue no matter who, there are some factions in the left who want Joe Biden to get out of there. CNN even ran a segment showing how much of a liar Joe Biden is.
He has done, I don't know if it's similar things, but he's sort of told some stories that don't line up quite like this before.
Yeah, this president has a pattern at this point of either inventing or embellishing stories about his own past, his biography. He did it 3 times in one speech last month alone. He claimed he had witnessed a bridge collapse in Pittsburgh when he actually showed up about 6 hours later. He claimed that his grandfather had died just days before he was born himself at the same hospital. In fact, his grandpa died more than a year before in a different state, not the same hospital. And he also repeated a favorite false story that I and others have debunked over and over again about a supposed conversation with an Amtrak train conductor he was friends with, who was actually deceased at the time the conversation would have had to take place. And that's not all. There's some more serious ones in my view. Previously in his presidency, he claimed at one point he'd been arrested during a civil rights protest when, in other versions of the story, he just said an officer had taken him home from a protest. He said he had visited the Pittsburgh synagogue where worshipers were killed in a 2018 mass shooting. In fact, he had actually spoken to the rabbi, but never went. And he's made a whole bunch of others too. He said at one point, Republicans like to bring this up, he said that he used to drive a tractor trailer, he used to drive an 18-wheeler. Never happened. The White House later clarified he used to drive a school bus at one point as a job briefly. School bus, of course, not an 18-wheeler. So whatever his intentions, whether it's foggy memory about stuff that's going on decades ago or deliberate embellishment, this is an unfortunate pattern that keeps coming up again and again with Joe Biden.
They've been trying to tout up people like Kamala Harris and the media, Gavin Newsom. So maybe his staff sabotaged him because they have plans to oust him, but who knows? And honestly, when you're the president, you should be competent enough to know what's going on and shouldn't have to rely on your staff for big events like this. And also during this event, some of the things that he did was he failed to address new safety, all the strides we made, how we're not going to be devastated by such an event again. Failed to discuss that in detail. He failed to address the border, the southern border, U.S.-Mexico border. He failed to address how terrorists, people from the Middle East and all parts of the world are coming in. You got MS-13, you got Mexican cartels, you got African warlords. They're all just pouring into the United States. We have millions and millions of undocumented immigrants. Who knows who these people are? So maybe he just didn't want to address it because he supports open borders and terrorists could be coming in every day. But bottom line is, this whole event, this whole debacle was an absolute failure. All the man had to do was give some encouragement and comfort to the families. Show up. And even if you're an old senile man, just act like you give a damn. Hey, before you go, hit that like button, hit the subscribe button, share the video. Thank you for watching.
Do you remember the one